Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I appreciate you stopping by. Got some pretty interesting stuff tonight for you. This is something that I'm now using that has dramatically changed the way I look at the markets in the morning for my trading, and I think it will help any trader out there that is struggling to make consistent profits a more profitable trader. It'll also help newer traders decide what they need to be trading. Okay. So for me personally, I have several setups that I like to trade. And I think a lot of my problems in trading is figuring out which of those setups to take and when. I might see one setup, take it, and it fails. And now I'm in a drawdown in the day, and then I get a different setup and I take it and it wins, and I get my drawdown back and a little bit of profit. But if I hadn't have taken that first loss for whatever reason, I'd be in a full profit day in one trade, and I could just turn the computer off and go live my life. So how do I reduce those losing trades that I shouldn't be taking? So there's a company out there. I've been trading since they opened their doors. It's been a couple to 3 years ago that they opened their doors and started providing this service. And I was interested in it then, and I really just never pulled the trigger. But I did recently. So that's what I'm going to show you tonight. But before we get into it, I really, really would appreciate it if you're watching this video to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below on what you think of the content. It sure would help me out, and I certainly would appreciate all the help I can get at the moment. So let's just go ahead and get into it. It is Edgeful. It is a database company specifically geared towards trading. Some of you may have heard of them, seen them, looked at their website, maybe wasn't sure whether you should do it or not. Some of you do use them. Let me know in the comments. Do you already use Edgeful? Have you ever seen them before? If you have, what kept you from purchasing the subscription? And if you never heard of them or never thought about using them, then pay close attention, because I'm going to show you something that, like I said, has completely changed the way I look at the markets in the morning. So basically what this does is I can pull any number of reports, and let's just start with all the reports, okay? And show you what we have here. So we have chart patterns, okay? I use fair value gaps, not to trade, but just kind of show me the weakness and strength in the markets. But we have market open and close strategies. We have SMA reports. We have performance tracking reports, CPI, FOMC, all of this. We have range and trend analysis reports, okay? Yeah. We have range and volatility. We have session analysis reports, support and resistance levels, volume and range analysis, volume analysis. There are a ton of reports you can pull off of this site to give you information that you need every single morning before the market open to know what you should be doing in your trading session, okay? So they also have indicators that work with certain setups and certain reports that they have. Over 35 indicators that come with the subscription on TradingView and NinjaTrader, okay? So what do I do in the mornings to get ready for my day's trade? Well, I like opening range breakouts, right? That's one of my good trades that I like to do, okay? So I'm going to go down here and customize it, because I like to do 2 opening ranges, and that's the 5-minute and the 15-minute, right? So, oops, wrong side. I'm going to change this one first. 5-minute and 5-minute. Okay. and you can customize your reports. There's lots of customization inside the reports that you can deal with to help you really nail down your information. So just on the standard report, on the 5-minute opening range, um, these are the stats that I'm looking at. And what it's telling me is how many times do we break out to the upside? What's the percentage over the last 6 months? Well, only 20% of the time do we break out to just the upside. This is a single break, okay? And it's a single break to the upside and never comes back to hit the bottom of the opening range. Well, breakdowns, just the opposite, going to the short side of the opening range, it only touches the opening range single side touch to the downside 16% of the time. Double breaks, which means it breaks the high and the low of the opening range, is up around 63.8% of the time. Still not quite enough for me to like this stat, but compared to the other two, it is definitely something I need to pay attention to. So how can I use that? Because I like ranges that break out and keep going, right? But this is telling me that in the last 6 months, the market conditions are not conducive to that. Okay. And if we look over the last 5 days, we actually had 2 days that broke out to the upside and did not come back to the downside. One day that broke to the downside that didn't touch the upside, and 2 days that broke both sides. But over the 6 months, we're at about 63%. Now, I like to look at different time frames because 6 months is pretty far out. The market can change within that 6 months and have a different look on things. So I'll take it down to a 3-month chart, look at the same thing, and we've got about the same stats there. I also want to look at just the last month, the last 20 trading days, and see how this is done. Because if the market starts changing, I'm going to see it on the 1 month report first. And then 3-month report is going to basically confirm, yes, this has become a pattern now that I need to start trading. So the stats are pretty close to all the same in the last 6 months as they are on the shorter time frame reports. And so I'm okay with that. So I know I don't want to be taking a trade just because it breaks the 5-minute orb to the upside, because it only stays above that and doesn't come back and touch the other side only 20% of the time. Same to the downside. If I do anything, what this is telling me is once it touches one side of the 5-minute orb and it comes back inside the 5-minute orb, I want to take a trade to the other side. Okay. But before I go and look at that on the charts, we can, not the customization, we can now take this report and we can look at it by weekday. Okay. So what are the weekday stats? Well, on Monday, we're at 57%. Tuesday, we're at 69%. I like that. That's pretty much 70% or above. Okay. And that's where I like my stats to be. So on Tuesdays, I'm definitely looking for it to break one side of the 5-minute orb, and then when it comes back inside the orb, take a short to the other side. Okay. Wednesday, 73%, same thing. Let's trade it that way. 57% on Thursdays, not the greatest, and 61 on Fridays. So my days to be trading this is Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Okay. Every other day, I don't want to even look at the 5-minute orb. The stats are not good enough for me to trade that. Okay. And as long as that holds up, that's 2 days out of the week that I'm now probably going to get a full trade, full profit, and be done within 15 to 20 minutes of market open. Okay. So let's just go take a look at the chart for today. And we have indicators that go along with their reports, with their setups, right? So let me turn these two off and let me turn on the 5-minute orb. Okay. So let me go ahead and turn off, let me turn off my pivot points, and let me turn off my fair value gaps just to clean the chart up so you can see this a little bit better. Okay. So the first 5 minutes, it will create the low and the high of the 5 minute orb. And this is a 2 minute chart. So let's go down to the 1 minute, just take a closer look at it and see what happened here. So the 5 minute orb was created on the close of the 934 candle. The 935 candle broke above the initial balance or the 5 minute opening range high. But knowing what I know there's a 70% chance that this is not going to continue. Now, this is Monday. The stats are a little lower for Monday, which is why I didn't take this trade. When we came back into this fair value gap and it showed like it was going to hold, I started taking longs and getting stopped out. I should have never touched the 5 minute opening range trade. The only thing I should have done if I was going to do anything at all was to take a trade as soon as we broke or touched the high of the orb. Why? Because the percentages over the last 6 months have shown that we have a very good possibility of going back to the initial range balance. Okay. And so when I take a trade, I'm risking 50 points and looking to catch 100. And I can measure as soon as the range is made that this range is 127 points. So I know that with a high probability, as soon as we come back down, that I'm going to be able to catch my 100-point trade because it should go back and break the other side of the orb. Okay. Now this one does get pretty darn close to a stop out, but it doesn't stop us out. And we hit our 100-point target at 10:40 in the morning. So we would have been entered on this trade at 9:42 and out at 10:40. Okay. So we would have been in the trade for an hour, but set it and forget it. Once you take your trade, walk away or don't touch anything. That's the way I am. I will move my stop loss when I'm working in my evals because I trade those differently than I do my funded accounts. When you see me trade my funded accounts, you will see me take the trade, not touch the stop loss, not touch the take profit. The only time I'm going to touch anything is if we're coming into an area before I reach a full 100 points, and I think there's a good possibility we could reverse, then I'll go ahead and take full profit or partial profit at that area and then leave a runner to see if we can get down to my actual target. And to see me trade, I trade every morning live at 9 o'clock in the morning in the Discord that I'm in. No charge for the Discord, no charge on my YouTube channel. You don't have to be a member to watch me stream or chat. The YouTube stream does have a delay, so please don't follow my trades if you're watching me on YouTube, because by the time you hear me enter the trade, I'm already in the trade about 30 seconds before that. The Discord is 0 latency. You can see everything live, real time in the Discord. I'll leave links to both of those. Well, you don't need a link to the YouTube channel. Just click the subscribe button. But I'll leave a link to the Discord in case anyone wants to come into the Discord and see me trading live there with 0 latency. So that is the 5-minute opening range trade. And by knowing the statistics and the probabilities, because all trading is a probability game, you get yourself in a position to where the probabilities are in your favor and you take the trade. Well, if you know what those probabilities are with data-backed accuracy, then you're a lot more comfortable taking the trade. So the other trade I like to take in the mornings, I do 2 orb trades, a 5-minute and a 15-minute. The stats on both of those aren't any good. I've completely taken the 15-minute orb play out of play. And if I'm going to trade the 5-minute orb, it's going to be on a reversal. For once it breaks one side, I will come back and trade it to the other side because the stats are so high on that, especially on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. The other one I like to do is the initial balance breakout. Okay. And if we look at that, this is absolutely wonderful. We start at 70%. It doesn't go much lower than that, no matter how I do the report. So I'm not going to waste your time on that. But for the first hour of trading, when we break one side or the other of the initial balance, 70% of the time or higher, depending on how you set the report by weekday, by size, all that stuff, 70% of the time or higher, we will only break one side of the initial balance and not come back to touch the other side. So this is a trade I look for, okay? And there is also a way I choose my targets by another report. I do this in pre-market every day on stream before the open, go through these reports, and you can check it out. Come watch me. And you'll see what setups I'm looking for the day and what I'm expecting to happen by looking at the statistics. So I'm not going to get into it very much anymore about Edgeful. The link to Edgeful will be in the description as well, and I would really appreciate it if you want to go check them out. To use my link, I do get a referral fee for anyone who purchases through them. So just want to be transparent about that. But go check it out. Watch the videos. Every single report, once you have the subscription, every single report has a explanation video attached to it that tells you what the report's telling you and how to use that information, okay? So very, very easy to use software that really gives you a lot of information to pinpoint what setups to take and how to take them, okay? So let's just go to the chart and take a look, and we'll turn off the 5-minute opening range and we'll turn on the initial balance, okay, and the opening candle continuation. Well, this is the initial balance range. It's set by the indicator as well, and it's green, which tells me my bias should be bullish, okay? Because if you look at the previous days, we had a red candle and price went up, okay? You have to learn how to read this stuff, and if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, then you have to learn how to switch up your trade bias and take something else. So we had Friday's New York session low down here, okay? So we couldn't get above this pivot point, and we couldn't get back above the 75% level once we made the initial balance and came down. We were just beating our heads. Well, once we showed strength to the downside through this push down below range, I waited to make sure we came down to initial balance. I was ready to take the short, targeting the previous low, but we bounced off of it. We didn't break through. Then we made a lower high, and then we made another lower high. We broke that low, which was also a color change off of the 9 EMA. I started my trade there. We came down, bounced again, got another color change, added to the trade there, got a strong push, strong candle through the initial balance low, added to the trade there, and ran it down to the pivot point. Okay, so I don't have the pivot points on. I didn't go all the way down to Friday's low. I closed the trade at the pivot point. Okay, we bounced back up, and then we came down and really just fell off. But it didn't matter to me at this point. I had already made my money for the day. It doesn't matter what the market does after that, and I'm good to go. So again, links for the Discord and Edgeful will be down in the descriptions. Really appreciate it if you use that link to Edgeful to go check them out. And if you think it can help your trading, then by all means, grab it up. If you want to see it in action a little bit more, come watch me every morning on YouTube at 9 o'clock in the morning, where I do live trading, or in the Discord where the live trading does not have a delay on it. But I truly, truly do believe that knowing these stats and these probabilities will help you, because there are certain trades that I like to take that I don't take right now because the probabilities aren't there yet. And with the market in this market condition, those trades just aren't working out as much. So I want to take the trades that have the highest probability of winning. Edgeful lets you know which ones those are. Okay. So until tomorrow morning, everybody stay blessed, and we'll see you in the next one.